Welcome back everyone to 3D modeling a Hobbit Door scene with Blender 2.9 and Adobe Photoshop, and this is where we left it off. Now let's go straight into our modeling tab up here. Let's press tab and now let's work on our wood. So what we need to do is, if I press tab, you'll see that we've actually got all of these actual lines going down, and we can use these to create our wood. So I'm going to press tab. I'm just going to hide this arch out of the way just so I've got a little bit more visual to play around with. So I'm going to press click on here, press tab again, and now let's mark some seams out straight away. Again, I'm thinking of how to mark the seams out, so it's going to save me a lot of work in the future. So I'm going to come round all the outside of here, including these. I'm going to grab it all the way up to here with control click. I'm going to right click then and mark seam. Now I need to think where the actual panels are going to be for this. So I think I'm going to have one here, and then it's just going to be every one going across. And then what I'm going to do is use these two here just as one piece of wood. So I'm going to right click, mark seam. Now you should end up with something like this. All we need to do now is split these pieces of wood up. So I'm going to come to this side. I'm going to press L to grab this island, and I'm going to go to each one, just grabbing the island like so. And I'm going to press Y, G again, just to make sure that they're all split up. Right click and drop it back in place. Now what we need to do is we need to make some edge loops going across here. And the reason for that is because I want to have a little bit more control of how kind of broken these panels are going to look, or how much movement is them. In other words, I don't want them perfectly straight like it's a new build kind of house or something like that. So what I'm going to do that is I'm going to press A1, and then I'm going to come again to our friend, the bisect tool. So let's grab the bisect, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut across like so. I'm going to take off clear inner, and I'm going to set again this one here to 0 to make that line perfectly straight. Now, the one thing you need to be aware of when you do this is just make sure that you're not cutting on the corners here. So you can see I've cut kind of halfway in this panel here. All right, so I want another 4 cuts down here to give me more movement. So I'll come to mesh again, bisect, and let's cut this one somewhere around here. Again, same procedure, plain normal, put on 0, and then let's move to the next one. So A, mesh, bisect, and let's cut this one something around here, like so. 0, and then again, A, mesh, bisect, and I think I want, maybe I could get away with 1. I think I'll put 2 actually, so I'll put 1 here, and then come back up. So A, mesh, bisect, and the last one I think will go here, like so, like so. All right, so now we've got those in. We don't need to mark a seam down there, of course, and they're still split up. So now what we need to do is we need to grab them all, so A, and then I want to pull them back. So I'm going to press E, and you'll notice that because they're all split up, you get all these lines, which is showing you that they're all being extruded back in the same direction. All right, so why did we do all that work? Well, now you'll see that what we can do is we can actually bring these in now. So if we come again to our face select, press L on each one of these now, and you'll notice that we're just grabbing just the front. So it shouldn't grab any of the tops or bottoms or the backs. Press 1, come up to your interlocking links, make sure you're on individual origins, press S and X, and now you can bring them in and you can start to see them looking like wooden panels. Now, as I said, we don't want them all to be straight down. So what you can do now is you can come up to your proportional editing button, which is this button here, click it on, and then you'll notice you click the down arrow, you've got smooth, and you've got all these options. Let's put it on random. In fact, I'll show you what smooth does first. So we'll come to smooth, we'll press tab, and what we'll do is we'll come in. Now let's click it on, and then come over, and if you move it with this arrow or press the G button, you'll see that you get a circle round, and actually everything is affected within this circle. You can also make the circle smaller, so like so, or you can make it larger. Now I will show you how we can actually make these doors look really good with very little effort. So let's come up to proportional editing, click this down arrow, and what we're going to do is we're going to put this on random. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in where the red arrow is here. I'm just going to move this slightly over, bring in my circle, like so. And then I'm just going to go to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. And then what I'm going to do is I'm also going to move these out. So I'm going to come to this one, move it out, like so. And what it's doing is it's randomizing which way they're all moving. The other thing as well is I want to move these up, so move them up like so. Bring that in a little bit. Not too much. We don't want those too much. We're going to come to this one now. Bring it out a little bit. And you'll see now we've got a lot of variance down here. Let's do the same on here, like so. And there we go. You can see with very little work how we've actually made this door look pretty old and weathered. Now the next thing is what you need to do is you need to press 1 and just have a look where if you can see through the actual door. Sometimes what it does is because it's proportional editing, it will affect the back of it. So what I tend to do now is I'll go to the back, come up to face select, grab each of these islands like so with the L button, make sure proportional editing off, press Ctrl 1 on the number pad so you can go to the reverse, and then what you're going to do is you're going to make sure again that we're on individual origins, press S and X and just bring them together, and it doesn't even matter if they're overlapping a little bit, so S and X, bring them together just so they're actually all touching. And now what you'll find is that you shouldn't be able to see through the backs of them because we've actually brought those together. If you can still see daylight, which might happen on the render, we'll just bring them closer together again. Alright, so now we need to bring in the actual wood. So let's come over to our materials panel, which is this button here. And what we're going to do is going to click the plus button because we don't need a new material because we're going to use this same wood as what we've used for our stained glass window. Let's click the down arrow. Come down, you'll see the one we've named wood. Click that on, you'll end up with something like this. Now before we unwrap this, again, we need to reset the transformations. So Ctrl A, all transforms, right click set origin to geometry, press the tab button, grab everything with A, and now press U, unwrap. And you should end up with something like this. Of course, they would be all going the wrong way. Alright, so let's go to the UV editing, press the tab button, and now you can see which ones are not right. And you can see here that some of these aren't right. So these ones here, they're basically infinite loops, and that's not what we want. So what we need to do is we need to find out why they are. And the reason is because we haven't actually put any edges going down here with our marked seams. So I'm going to go quickly into modeling, and that's something I should have thought about. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mark seams on each one of these. So I'm going to come in, edge select, and let's grab each one of these and mark the seams like so, and then there won't be infinite loops. Now because the door is coming up to the stone arch, it doesn't matter too much that there is a seam here. And also you'll find that when you're actually marking seams on wood, the edges of the wood doesn't really matter if it's actually got a seam on them because it's obviously a corner. Now if you're doing bricks or something like that, this will really matter, but on something like wood, as I said, it's not a problem at all because most of the time the wood grain on the edge going down the inside here is different from the one going this way, and that's why it doesn't matter so much. Alright, so let's just grab all of these, right click, mark seams, grab everything, back into UV editing, press U for unwrap, and there we go. You can see now they're looking much nicer, and they're all going the wrong way still. So let's spin them round. So A, R, 90, let's spin them round and have a look what that looks like. And you can see now that it's looking really nice, and I think that the actual wood grain on here is actually how I want it. In other words, it's about the right size for the actual size of the wood. Now if I come back now to modeling and I press Alt H just to bring back our arch, double tap the A, and you can see it's really starting to come together now. Albeit we've got something, a problem here in that this stained glass window isn't set correctly because we can't see any light coming through there. So let's grab it and let's just set it of where it's going to go. And you can see there I've still got proportional editing on. Let's turn that off and let's bring this and just sit it on there. And now let's make a hole in our door. So while I've got this here, I'm going to press Shift S, cursor to selected, Shift A. I'm going to bring in a cylinder. And I'm going to come down, I'm going to put this on 20. I don't need this on 32 because I'm just basically cutting a hole in the door. So let's put this on 20 and then let's spin it round. So RX 90, press 1 on the number pad. Let's make it smaller like so. And now we're just going to zoom in, and I'm just going to make it so that the hole starts round about here. So how I'm going to do that then is I'm going to click on my door. I'm going to come over to my modifiers, add modifier, and this time we're going to pick a Boolean. Now you'll notice that you've got three options here. Just make sure it's on difference. Click the pipette, come over and click on your cylinder, and you should be able to see something happening there. Now, if you move this cylinder now, you will be able to change whereabouts this hole is actually cut, but we obviously don't want to do that. So what we're going to do is simply come over to our modifier and apply it with Control A, and now I can delete this cylinder out of the way. So delete cylinder, and there we go. There is our hole already done, and even the wood is looking like it's going the right way. Next thing you want to do now is I need to shade this door. So I'm going to grab the door again, right click, shade smooth, come over to a little triangle, auto smooth on. And lastly now we can see that these are very, very sharp edges, and we don't particularly want that either. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to bevel these. Now, because we've got triangles in here, we can't actually use our bevel modifier. Well, we could use it, but it's just actually easier to come in with edge select and just grab each of these edges on the front like so. So I'm just going to come in, grab in each one of these. And if you can't grab them along here, all you need to do is just come in, grab the door, press the question mark, and that's going to isolate it out. And then just do it the old-fashioned way. So you're going to grab one with shift click like so. What I just want to make sure is I'm just not going around the back of it or anything like that. So I do just literally want just the front of these actual pieces of wood grabbing. So I'm going to press Alt, Shift, and click and just see if we can grab the rest of these like so. Like so. And now let's do this one. Just zoom out, just make sure I've got them all. And there we go, I think I've got them all. I'm not going to worry about these ones here, they're in the actual arch anyway. And then I'm going to zoom in a little bit, I'm going to press Control B, I'm going to pull them out very slightly. Press the tab button and you'll see now that roundness really makes a difference in how this door actually looks and really adds and sells it more realistic. Now you can see over here that these pieces of wood here probably touching a little bit too much. So I'm actually going to go in, grab two of these and just pull them back just a little bit. Let's have a look. I think they're actually going the wrong way. We do seem to have a problem there, and it's because I haven't got the right one. So it's this one here. So let's grab this one and this one on the inside, and let's pull them back just a little bit. Let's pull it out. It's getting a little bit better. Let's grab this one as well. And you can see the problem is that I'm having is I need to grab both of these. So if I come in, grab the two on the inside and the outside, now I should be able to, let's have a look, pull it over. Still having some problems with it. And what I've done is I've grabbed the other side now. So I'm just going to press Control Z and just move it back in fully like so. And now I'm going to grab this one and and just basically restart it. I'm just making sure I've got the right ones. Pull it now. And again, you can see, got a little bit. I'm going to grab it with a face select. That's going to be easier, and grab just the inside there. And now I can see, there we go. That's so much easier to do it that way. So we'll do it that way instead. So grab it, pull it just a little bit, press the tab button. And let's grab it a little bit more. And I can also think, if I just grab this part here with edge select, like so, and just pull it across. And there we go. All right, so there we go. Finally, we got there. Okay, so let's press the question mark again to bring everything back. Double tap the A, and there we go. All right, that's looking really nice. So on the next one, what we need to do is we need to actually work on our steps going down, and then finally what we'll do is we'll work on our actual hinges. Okay, everyone, so I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.